episode, Barbecue Pit, live. John Jones, back again, quick turnaround, good to see. Light heavyweight title defense, his first against Anthony Smith at 235, which is in Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena. Um, like I just said, he came back off being suspended, beat Alexander Gustafsson to win the light heavyweight title. I guess they were fighting for the vacant heavyweight title, light heavyweight title, sorry. And he won that. And now he's going on to try to defend that against Anthony Smith, who is rising as a light heavyweight, lost to Thiago Santos, who this past Saturday actually just beat, tough opponent, Hab Washowitz. So Santos definitely in the mix now at light heavyweight, and that was Anthony Smith's last loss at middleweight. And then he came up to light heavyweight. Of course, he knocked out Rashad. And what did he do with Shogun? I forget what he did. He knocked out Shogun too, and he submitted Volkan. And submitting Volkan, Ozdemir got him this title shot against John Jones. I've tried to play every way in my head I could see Anthony Smith win this fight, and it's just not enough possibilities that come out to a realistic percentage for me to pick him. So I'm going to go John Jones knockout, first round. Let's say he's really going to put the heat on him quick. And first round, I think John Jones is going to be able to outsmart him and knock him out. Maybe second round, maybe John Jones tries to slow it down and read his opponent and figure out what he's doing and then attack in the second round. But first or second, knockout John Jones. No surprise there. And then, of course, the welterweight champion Tyron Woodley will be taking on Woodley-Usman in the co-main event. Two good wrestlers. Usman, decent striker. Woodley, a power striker. So, I mean, I think Usman tries to get this fight to the floor. And Tyron Woodley could say a lot if he thinks he wants to keep it standing. He could say a lot about those 20 whatever takedowns he had against Damian Maia. But Kamaru Usman's takedowns are much more relentless than Damian Maia. So again, this is one of those tough fights where I just had to try to play it through my head and see how I could see each guy winning the fight, realistic scenarios. I don't play out the crazy, what if this happens, what if that. I just go through, I look at how X fighter fought past fights against Y type of fighter, given that, I try to compare the fighters to how good I think they are compared to each other, which is weird. And then I make my assumptions, but I think if Usman can get this fight to the floor, it's going to be interesting to see if Tyron will be held there, or if he's able to just get right back up, or if he just wants to grapple and try to, roll around and who knows, it's going to be interesting to see if it gets to the floor. That being said, if it stays up top, I think it's a knockout by Woodley. Guess you got to make your official guess on what you think is going to happen. So I'm going to call it a Woodley knockout. I think Usman might take him down a few times, but I think Woodley, if I had to guess the most realistic thing that would happen is Usman gets a power double, turns into a single with good takedown defense from Woodley. Somewhat of a high single. He runs it to the cage. Gets the Tyron's kind of using the cage to keep himself up. So Usman kind of uses a pull kind of move to take him away from the cage, trip him to get him on the floor. Uh, they get on the floor. Um, Woodley immediately gets him into some kind of half guard or something like that, slips to his feet, scrambles, and gets right back up. That's how I see it. And then once it gets up, it's dangerous for Usman. I think that's how much of a different level they're on striking wise. Um, as long as fucking Woodley don't have a fucking broken hand or a fucking torn labrum or whatever he had. Sorry, knock on wood. I don't know if she really had that stuff, but as long as he doesn't have an injury in one of those arms and he's able to swing them like he normally does with the precision that he normally does, um, he's going to knock him out pretty easy, especially if he starts stuffing those takedowns, or even if not stuffing them, getting up as soon as he gets taken down. I think that'd be the true test for him. 9-0, this guy in the UFC, Usman. Is this going to be his first loss? I got Woodley. Knockout. That's title fight, third round. Just because I think Woodley's going to come out more fresh. Maybe not. Maybe they're kind of even in the third round, I think. But I think the game plan may pay off at least in the third round at the latest. Some will call it third round because there's 5 rounds to that fight. So just below that, you got Tyron Woodley's good friend Ben Askren making his UFC debut. Said to be possibly one of the best welterweights in the world. Never fought in the UFC. Finally got a deal done to trade Demetrius Johnson to one FC, one championship or whatever for Ben Askren. He comes in and he fights Robbie Lawler. Great striker. Did not do good against Josh Koscheck. Was getting beat up against Josh Koscheck, which is a very similar fighter to Ben Askren. And on the floor was getting fucked up. And got up, got in the scramble. And I just watched it in that fight today. Just watched it. Got up, got into a scramble. And it looked like Koscheck was going down for a takedown. And it was very close whether he was all fours on the ground when he got knee in the face. Very close. Either way, gets clipped by that knee. Kind of is finishing on the leg. It only takes him about 10 seconds to get flopped over. He's so out of it. And fucking pap, 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 pap. Lawler's hitting him with those power shots and he put him out. So anything can happen like that. I think especially with a Robbie Lawler fight. I always pick the knockouts over anything. But I just think Ben Askren's going to spoil the night for him, man. I think Ben Askren's going to come out, stand with him, stay away from him, shoot his takedowns, maybe get stuffed on a bunch, but I think he's going to land a couple per round, and he's going to sit on him for a little while. Get his punches in, get his whatever in, but he's going to sit on him for a little while on those takedowns and the control time. Get him to a decision win, I think. Ben Askren. Decision win. Tisha Torres. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her first name, but Zhang is the last name that I guess the Asian woman. I won't call her Chinese, but I don't think if she's not Chinese, I don't want to offend anybody. So the Asian woman, who is 2-0 since joining the UFC. She beat Danielle Taylor and Jessica Aguilar. She beat by decision. She has 18-1 overall pro record, but only 2-0 in the UFC. As opposed to Tisha Torres, who's right now in a must-win situation. We talk about this pretty much every week, where there's a fighter in a must-win situation on a losing streak. They're in bad ways with the company. They're on the last fight of their contract. They're on a one-fight losing streak, whatever the case is. But they're in jeopardy of getting cut, losing their job. So they got to do something. And it just so happens Tisha Torres is that woman right now, looking fit as ever. She is also, just say it like it is, coming off the 2-fight losing streak to Jessica Andrade and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. And obviously coming close to her way up to the contract. I think 6-3 in the UFC, so mid card. I think midway. Um, but I think a great fighter, two stories. I think she can easily get a decision win here, and that's what I'm going to pick because I always root for the people that are kind of on their last leg there, and unless I just don't like the fighter, I don't like the fighter style, or I don't like the gimmick, or whatever it is. But if it's kind of like make or break, I'll root for him just because I want him to win. Tisha Torres' decision is how I could see her winning if she does win. So Tisha Torres. I'm tired. I think I got my drink back here somewhere. Fuck, I left my drink in the fucking laundry room again. I do this. You've seen this. This is the. I should make a shirt. I left my drink in the laundry room again. I think this is going to be the last fight of the main card. Some people are saying that the Stevens Zabit fight will be on the main card. I am actually going to predict the Zabit fight and the Serkinov fight because I think those two fights are pretty interesting. But what is supposedly the last fight of the main card, Cody Garbrandt versus Pedro Munoz, will be an amazing striking. Just performance all around. Um, Garbrandt, of course, we know is a great power striker with a great boxing background. He's 0-2 against TJ Dillashaw as of late. So he's coming off losing streaks as well. I think Garbrandt has got himself to a point in the company where he's not really in any kind of danger with two losses, both of them being title fights, of getting cut or anything like that. So I don't think it's really a must win for Cody Garbrandt. But I do think he wants to get this win under his belt um, and get those losing waves behind him, get another win, and hopefully get up there and challenge for the belt again, depending on who's got it and what the timing's like and everything like that. Pedro Munoz, 7-3-1 in the UFC is no contest. Comes from him getting popped for performing against drugs back in 2014. Um, his wins over great strikers and Rob Font, great submission guy and Brett Johns, and Brian Caraway, who are just all three great bantamweights in their own. Garbrandt has wins over, I think, two of them, maybe all three. But either way, Munoz is on a tear. I think Garbrandt comes back from his losing the belt and losing the challenge to fight for the belt, and knocks Pedro Munoz out inside 2 rounds. I think it's going to be a similar fight to the Dominic Cruz fight. You're going to see Cody kind of look like he found his groove again, type thing. You know what I mean? Have a big call out. Hopefully he doesn't call out TJ. It'd be so cringy. But hopefully he has a big call out. Maybe not. Maybe I don't really see anybody for Cody Garbrandt to call out. To be honest, you can't call out Cruz, even though that'd be a big fight. Just because Cruz has to want that fight. Dillashaw just beat you twice, so you can't call him out. And your fight this weekend, so it's not like Dillashaw is going to be. Maybe Dillashaw gets booked before this weekend, so you can't say anything to Dillashaw. And maybe he just say that, oh, this guy, Marlon Moraes thinks he's at the top of the division, yada yada, or whatever, fight me, or whatever. Maybe he calls out Marlon Moraes or Rafael Sunsao, maybe, or whoever. I don't give a fuck. Whoever he calls out, I think that would be cool to see Cody Garbrandt get back in the mix. So I'm gonna have him by knockout. Jeremy Stevens, Little Heathen, knockout artist. Jeremy Stevens fighting Zabit Magomed Sharipov. I think it's obvious I'm going to go with Zabit. and I'm going to do it by decision. It's a 3-round fight. I think Zabit is going to hit Stevens with the more effective punches that do the most damage, but using way less energy because I think Stevens is just going to be swinging through the fences. And Zabit's a quick guy. He's got a chance of getting clipped, no doubt. He has a chance of getting clipped there, but I don't think he gets clipped in that scenario. So I got Zabit by decision. Misha Cirkunov fighting Johnny Walker. They're coming in on a short notice. Johnny Walker's going to be dancing, styling, fucking profiling when he comes to the fucking cage. And I think Johnny Walker's going to walk out with another knockout because Misha Cirkunov has shown his vulnerabilities in the stand-up game. As long as the guy studies, man. And he just came off a fight camp. He just fought. What's left to do? There's no more training. There's no more nothing like that. You're in the fight month. Study, man. You know, you study this guy. You see what his flaws are in the stand-up. You work on some of those. You work on some of those as you're learning them. But you gotta learn them first, you know. So hopefully Walker's doing that. And I got Walker by knockout. Cody Stanman's also on the card versus Alejandro Perez, and then Diego Sanchez, of course, versus Mickey Gall. Great preliminary card for the pay-per-view. So check us out, Barbecue Pit. 100 episodes. Only gonna be not even 20 minutes long, but no fight companion this week. Sorry about it. We're gonna be too into the fights. Writing about them, of course. Check out Pure Eva MMA for all my articles and pretty much any updates. What's going on with the MMA world? Just great pieces from me and the entire team. And also, if you're into the NBA, check out NBAoverview.com. Great pieces. I'm doing all the graphics over there, and it's just great pieces that are being written over there. They're a bunch of good guys, I think, over there. So hopefully this ends up working out for us, both the Pure MMA and NBA overview. In the long run, I hope we can all raise both of these businesses to a high level, and it could be somewhat of a help to both of them. That's all that you could aspire. Shouts out always at the end of the video. Dan Lamorte, funniest guy on Twitter, hands down. Robin Black, great breakdowns, great analyst, great human beings, great dude. Eddie, Evil Eddie, great dude for putting me on with the website. He's given me great opportunities since being with him. So shout out to that guy. Craig Allen, Fight Night Picks, that's a good guy. Off the top of my head, it's going to be hard to remember everybody, and I'm going to get mad later that I didn't remember people. Everybody, yeah, man, thank you. From right here. 100 episodes, nearly 10,000 views later. Some of you wanted to be here, some of you didn't. But regardless, you were here. I appreciate you, you know. And hopefully next year brings another 10,000 and so on and so forth. And everything grows. We'll have everything growing. 100 more. This is 100 to 100 more. 100 more fight companions. 100 more videos. 100 more everything. Salam alaikum, motherfuckers.